Another crazy day in the market today. I've got the ES up here, and you can see that we fell 61 and a half points in the ES today. Crazy stuff going on in the overall market. Bitcoin was down 3,000, the Nasdaq's down 400. Pretty good selling going on today. In this video, I'm going to talk about what's causing it, how long is it going to last, how low we're going to go, and how you can take advantage of it. I've got some names we want to go over here in just a second. We'll look at some winners and losers and make a couple of good ideas out of the kind of carnage for us. First of all, if you don't know me, if you're new here, I'm Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading. Welcome, glad you're here. I've been trading professionally for almost 38 years, so let me know if I can help you, and let's jump right in. So this is the ES, and it's just a one-day chart. I mean, a pretty good sell-off. This is the light gray is the overnight session in the ES. Chop, and then we kind of started free falling and never looked back really. A little bounce and then came back down. But what's more important, let's bring this back to here's a 5-day chart, of course, and you can see what we really want on our portfolio is lower left to upper right, and what we're getting is upper left to lower right. That is not what we want to see, right? So what's going on? Well, let's back this up to a 20-day chart, which is roughly a month, and in trading days. All-time high right there. Guess what happened right there? That was Fed meeting, the last Fed meeting, right? Actually, right there. That we hit that in the overnight session, but new all-time high, multiple all-time highs, over the last quite a few months. Everybody knows that. But Fed meeting was right here, and the Fed came out. In fact, let me zoom in here, and I'll show you. Fed came out, was right, specifically, it was right there. When the Fed announced we got 25 basis point cut, but guess what Powell said? He said when you're driving in the fog, meaning the government shutdown, he doesn't see data reports and all that kind of stuff. When you're driving in the fog, you got to be careful, right? And you got to slow down. Well, that's exactly what he did, and he said that a rate cut in December is what the market was wanting, was not a foregone conclusion. So very kind of not bullish, right? Very bearish. So from here, overnight session, all-time high, we have done nothing but just go down. If I bring this back out, and all the indexes look the same, Nasdaq, etc. If we bring this back down, you can see it's not terrible, but it's there since the low down here at 4,800. We've had one pretty good sell-off there, one there, a little chop there. The biggest one is there. This one is not even this much yet, and we're coming down here pretty hard. Where are we going to go? And there's a couple of schools of thought. I'll show you some charts here in just a second, but I want to put our moving averages up here first. Simple 50-day moving average right there. We're just about on it. Let me put this on SPX. Now that was ES, so here's SPX, and you can see 50-day moving average. Come down to it. This 50-day moving average is at about, unfortunately, it's about 6666 roughly or so, and we're almost there. That's about 60 points away. There's a pretty good chance that can hold there. If we break that, let me put my voodoo lines back up here because this has got some Elliott wave in it. Next big level is down there at 66.29, and then if we really go down, we're probably likely to touch these August lows over here at 63.60, and again that's SPX, not ES. So that'll give you some ideas of where we can might go. I'm not seeing a move back down here. Any kind of black swan, anything like that. But let me show you what I've got here. So on SPX on the daily, right here. Now these are Fibonacci levels off of Dynamic Trader, and SPX on a daily. We're coming into a lot of support all down here, right? That will probably hold. You can see that's that 50-day right there. The ES is about the same thing. 50 days right here. We're coming down a lot of support. A lot of support, a lot of support. So I am going to assume, and I'll switch this back over real quick. I'm going to assume, right, for now until I'm proven wrong, that this level holds and we kind of take back off again. So, what's causing this? Obviously, Powell really threw a wet blanket on the market with his commentary, and kind of read whatever you want to into that, but it's really affecting the market pretty good. On top of that, we've got government shutdown, we've got tariff questions on tariff, what's gonna happen, all that kind of stuff. Things could get messy again, but the bottom line, we know more rate cuts are coming either sooner or later. I thought the time schedule was way too short anyway. Earlier in the year, people were saying we're going to get 3 cuts, we're going to get 5 cuts, and I'm like, no, we're not. It just ain't going to happen. But anyway, so they're coming, right? So we will continue up here unless, we get some pretty crazy news. Now, the other thing is we're getting into earnings season, or we're actually coming kind of midpoint, a little past midpoint earnings season, and some have not turned out so well, right? We've had some pretty good ones, mostly good, but there have been a couple of surprises. That is not helping the market, So multiple things kind of dragging us down here. Again, the best thing that we could do, or the best thing we could happen, this is healthy for the market for a pullback. You have to do stairs up in order to keep going higher. You have to pull back, to work off some of the valuation and that type thing, right? Just like when you have a giant move, you typically get a retracement before you go higher, right? And this is one big giant move, and we have baby tiny little bitty retracements. We need a pullback here, and this would be ideal if we could get back to that 50 and that holds and we keep going, right? If we break that, again, we're probably looking at these August lows over here, and it's still not that bad. And that would be the best thing. It's got short-term pain. That would be the best thing for the overall market, right? So what do we do? And I will, real quick, trying to make this video super short. NASDAQ, same thing. We're a little bit further off on that's a 50-day out right there, right? See that 50-day, 50-day, 50-day. That will, if we get down there, I think that probably holds. That's my next shot right there. As far as if we continue on the downside, I don't think we stop in the middle out here and turn around and come back up. We'll see. But again, we don't, with the government shutdown, we don't have payrolls and we don't have all the reporting, right? I don't know if you guys saw the public sector report that we had today, saying that we have had more job cuts than we've had since, I believe it's since 2008. Not good. So, again, there's a lot of uncertainty about the overall economy and the direction of the economy and all that. That'll all work out. So here is ideally what happens. We pull back here to, and this is going to be ES or NQ, those are 2 primary exchanges we're watching, obviously. And then we make our run into the end of the year, and I'll switch back to ES for round numbers here. I'm still, and we could say SPX, I'm still looking for 7,000 plus here into the end of the year, depending on how low we go. Obviously, if we go too low, we don't get there. If we don't go down that low, we get there. If we rip off, just take off and rip higher from here, maybe we get to 7,100, 72. I've actually got some trades as far some kind of lotto ticket trades to 73, 7,400. I don't think we get there, but the risk reward is pretty crazy if we did. So how do we play this market? Well, the biggest thing, when one other big concern that the market has, the overall market has, is that we're being led by a handful of stocks, the Mag 7s or now the Mag 10. I've been hearing them say that makes up about over 40% of the market cap of the S&P 500. If you take those out, the S&P is still up, but it's not up much. And so that's a little concerning. You have that much concentration in 5, 10 stocks, 7 to 10 stocks. What happens if 1 or 2 or 3 of those blow up? And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. It's not good. I don't think they will blow up. I think they're maybe temporary little setbacks here and there, but that's also causing a lot of anxiety. For example, let's look at Netflix here. I mean, we're below the 200. on Netflix. Amazon, on the other hand, crushed it. Everything looks great. I am long Amazon. Even as good as this quarter was up here, going to have a little retracement before ultimately going higher. So again, in this lull that we are having right now, and maybe gets a little bit deeper, we look for some ideas. So where are the hot spots? Obviously the AI stocks, Mag 7, that kind of stuff. But I want to show you the difference here in some charts that we like but don't necessarily want to buy. So look at this. Let's look at, I don't know, I've just picked a handful here. Spotify. This has been a great stock. We've made a lot of money, traded over and over. It's been great. Now we're below the 200, and that's kind of an off limit for me when when it breaks under that 200. It just, I'll come back and see you later when you start acting better, right? You're put in the timeout corner for now. We looked at Netflix again, below the 200. And these are, up until fairly recently, were really strong names. Microsoft looks like it's fine. Microsoft will be fine, but this is, that's a pretty good there's no green there. Well, one little bitty one right there, but that's a pretty good flush, right? What else I got? Oh, my old favorite, Rocket Lab. Been a great stock. I mean, this stock could do no wrong. Up and away, and now we're at 74, and now we're down to 49. That's a pretty good drop there. Again, like the stock, will buy it back at some point. Have nothing against it, but here's what I want to show you. So there's 4 names with good stocks with just junker charts. So what would we look for? How about something like Howmet? Look at that. Market's pulling back here since middle of October, straight down. Where's this going? Straight up. Great stock, right? Different chart. That's what I'm looking at here. What about let's see here. Lam Research. Look at that chart. There's no pullback there, right? There's mid-October. Market goes straight down. This is going straight up. KLAC, same sector, little pullback, looks great. STX, look at that, up and away. Next tracker, up and away. So these are, in a market that's going down and your stock is either not going down or slightly pulling back, that's the names we want to focus on, right? One last one. I bought this yesterday. Monolithic Power. So we know now it is pullback, and that's kind of to the magic spot there. That's a 50-day moving average. I just bought the stock. I tried to come up with some options, but the spreads are a mile wide. Put that on your radar. But this goes in the same category as Oklo. Now that looks pretty brutal. I am long Oklo, but from way back here, and I did sell some on the way up, and I'm holding some, but. The AI, power generation, energy infrastructure, nuclear sector, you got to think a little bit longer term on these. These things are going to be amazing in a couple of years. They're going to be much, much higher, I think, in a couple of years once the infrastructure build out happens. And there's a lot of, kind of secondary names there as well. And we've got I don't know, what do we have? Talon, kind of same thing, a little pullback here. GEV, there's a lot of good names here. GEV. So that sector, and again, that's, good chart or bad chart. That's chart doesn't look great. I would kind of wait on some of these names, but they're getting cheaper. And of the group, I think Oklo is probably my favorite. But well, my new favorite is Monolithic, because I bought that yesterday, and it's acting much better than the rest. Pretty expensive stock, but it's still, again, you want to have some exposure to that sector, and there's a lot of ways to do it, either through these stocks or now these ETFs are popping up everywhere with these energy names, right? So the one last one, I want to give you a specific idea, is AMD. Again, great. I don't know if you guys saw the quarter, great quarter, all that kind of stuff, pulling back. I'm not buying it here. I'm long stock, but I have a collar on it, so I'm protected on the downside. I will start a new trade if it goes. I'll hold the stock just for long-term stuff, but depending on where it goes here, I'm not stepping in front of it yet. Again, on my stock, I've got a collar. If you familiar with how that works, I have puts on it basically, so I can't lose any money on the downside here. So anyway, that's on the list. There's a lot of good names out there, but again, be careful if the NASDAQ keeps going down. All these favorite names that we like to trade are just not going to do good, I would say momentarily, and then I assume, you have to make assumptions, right? I assume if we get another, I hope it's fast, but maybe it's a week more, 2 weeks more, and then we, maybe 3. I don't know. I'm guessing here, but then we get the Santa rally into the end of the year, and we're back up to everything's great and everything's moving along. We get the government shutdown resolved. We get tariffs resolved. China's great. Everything's great. Powell starts talking, bullish again. Remember, there's no Fed meeting in November, so keep that in mind. So anyway, just sit on your hands as much as you can and be very careful and cherry pick names here. We don't have to be trading. We don't have to be buying all the time, right? There are some good names. I threw out some good names there. I mean, again, for example, STX or NXT or some of these, I would like for them to pull back a little bit if they just haven't pulled back. And that's where the money is flowing into those stocks. And those are the names you want to ride, right? You want to ride the wave and not be in front of the wave or under the wave, right? So with that, let me wind it up here. I wanted to try to keep this video short. Let me know if I can help. I am in the bias room at Simpler Trading. I'll put a link down below for the bias service if you want to go in there. I've been trading portfolio for 12 years in that room. Same portfolio. We've never had a down year. Come in there. I'm glad to work with you and help you any way that I can. So let me know if I can help. And with that, let me wind it up here. Thanks for the time, guys. I appreciate it. And good trading. And again, let us know if we can help. Thanks. Take care.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me